Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this presentation is titled My Worst Rental Property and Real Estate Investment Experience Ever. Theft, Arson, and Deceit. A lot of people made money on this property, but I was not one of them. Now, let me tell you about this. My son, youngest son, was down in Daytona Beach working down there, going to school, and he had a friend who was just laid off from his job. And his friend wanted to get into rehabbing, and this was back in October of '05. And rehabbing was going wild back then. Prices were going up very rapidly, and you could make a decent amount of money flipping properties. And his friend wanted to get into this, and would I finance it? So I said, yeah, I can do that. I would finance it. He would do the work, and then we would split the profits, and I would provide all the money for, various repairs and stuff. So, okay, sounds like a good deal. Well, uh, we had a little problem with this. The market, of course, went bad, and I ended up being stuck with the property. Ended up renting it. The flipping wasn't going to work out because this was just before the market crash, but the property values were deflating. Now, part of the problem was his friend didn't have as good of a work ethic as you really need to do this. It took a very long time, almost a year, for him to rehab this very small house. And I had a lot of expenses in there, a lot of wasted time. I still had to pay for insurance, taxes, $4,000 for a new septic system. It was an extremely long process, and by the time we got around to this, the market had tanked, and I ended up renting it. So that was another problem. So new kitchen appliances, new interior, new countertops, new cabinets, and all that stuff. Place looked pretty decent on the inside. Uh, Carpeting, paint, things like that. And it was a nice little property. It was small, but it was nice. Okay, time to get my first renter. Well, I got a management company. That's another problem when you use a management company long distance, and I had a lot of trouble. I went through several management companies down in Florida, and until I got Ken to help me out, these management companies were just terrible. They charged extremely high fees, and their maintenance services were extremely high, and I was just really not doing well with these people, and they really didn't represent me that well. One was an attorney; she was running to be a judge, and I'll explain that situation in just a moment. But okay, so I get a lady in there, older lady. Nice lady. She checks out well, good credit, no criminal history, anything like that. So she moves in. And this is one problem you can get. Well, she decided her grandson needed to live with her because he had a few problems. Well, he had a criminal record. So he moves in. Shortly after he moves in, the air conditioner on the outside disappears. Now, this is before it has this lovely little cage. That lovely little cage isn't there for aesthetics. It's because this wasn't in a good neighborhood, and people were stealing these air conditioners from the houses. Now, I came down there and looked at it, and it was interesting because they claimed that some guy came in a pickup truck and pulled it away. The sheriff wasn't really going to investigate. I didn't get anything out of that. It was just, hey, that's too bad. It's an insurance claim. So I noticed though that the plumbing, the copper pipes for the air conditioner, had been cut on the inside next to the furnace, and I go, well, how did this guy with the pickup truck come inside the house to cut the pipes? And they had no idea. He must have just they must have broke when he pulled it. Well, I looked up and it was about 38,000 pounds it would take to break those pipes, and that's a little more than you get with a pickup truck, and it would have torn the side of the house out. So, yeah. Well, she ended up leaving shortly thereafter. I got a new air conditioner, and I got another tenant in there, a nice lady. And guess what? We had another little issue with her. Well, here's the police report. I redacted the name of the individual, but she had her boyfriend move in with her. Well, I didn't have a chance to vet the boyfriend, and the boyfriend wasn't the best individual to have move in here. And I talk about theft, arson, and deceit. Well, the theft was the air conditioner. This is the arson, and let me. I've got the one part here expanded. Okay, this is the fun part. You can't make this stuff up. The police come out there with the fire department, and once the front door was open, a hazy gray yellow smoke throughout the house was found. Okay, they found a bedroom on fire and extinguished the fire. Preliminary research completed. And overhaul started. Once smoke cleared, a gas can was found on top of the piece of a pile of clothing and the couch that was burning in the bedroom. After exiting the building, the Daytona Beach Police Department advised the person they had in custody admitted to starting the fire. Police Department also advised the occupant, name is noted up there, redacted, had called his girlfriend and told her, "Don't bother coming home because I just set the house on fire." Okay, well, I heard a few other quotes that he told her. He said to the police, he said, "I told the B, rhymes with W, not to come home because I had set her defecation on fire." That wasn't quite the word he used. So I presented this to the insurance claim, and they paid for the fire damage. And the guy goes, "Well, there's no doubt this was arson. You're not going to have any trouble with this claim." Of course, insurance doesn't always pay the full price on things. That's kind of the way it works out often. And I wanted to keep her $800 damage deposit, and my attorney management person running for judge says, no, we don't want to do that. And I go, "Well, why?" And he says, "Well, she's poor and she can get free legal representation, and she will sue you for getting her damage deposit back." And I said, "Her boyfriend, who she let in there, set the house on fire, and you're not going to return the damage deposit?" And she says, "No, it'll cost you more in lawyer fees to defend. So, no, we already refunded the damage deposit." And I go, "Oh, that's great." Well, that was one of a couple of management companies I had. I finally got a guy named Ken who is great. He took care of things. Very reasonable guy, nice big guy. So, he could be intimidating people if he needed to be, which he didn't have to, other than just his presence. But he took care of my properties for me, and he did the work very reasonably. And it came time to sell. Now, I go talking to a real estate agent, and they're supposed to know the market down there, right? And they're supposed to put your interest first and stuff like that. Well, we go looking at the price, and she says, "Well, you paid $40,000 for this," and I go, "No, I paid $80,000 for it." See, the deal here was my friend, my son's friend, who was going to do the rehab, had a friend who was doing rehabs, and he says, "I can help you get started here. I'll get you a house to rehab." Because when you're doing this, you usually have more properties that are worth to rehab than you can do yourself, or your group can do. So he says, I'll help you here. Well, guess what? This is one of the investment strategies that I think is really kind of a little shady, and it's all my own fault because I didn't do due diligence here. He did a dual closing. He bought the property himself. He didn't own it. He bought the property himself for $40,000 and did a double closing. He flipped it to me for $80,000. So he made $40,000 right off the top on this, and then that's when I bought it. Now this is if you look to the Carlton Sheets courses and all these other rather not too nice, what I call honest real estate things. He's a wholesaler. He finds a property and flips them. Well, this was a little bit disingenuous in my mind because he was supposed to be helping us out. If I knew that he was going to screw us over like this, I would have, I trusted the guy. Yeah, I was busy doing other things. I trusted the people, and I didn't think this guy was going to screw us over. But he did, Okay, he made profit. That's a real estate strategy, but that was a little unfair to me. But it gets worse. Okay, there's a greater fool theory in real estate, and that's if you can find, it's all right to overpay for something because you're looking for a greater fool who will pay more. All right, well, There were several of them, and it really surprised me because I sold the house in January of 2020 for $50,400. You remember I bought it for 80? Yeah, that was fun. That really hurt. Well, one guy got it, and he did virtually nothing to it. And he flipped it in May of 2020 for $68,500. And I was just ticked. Um, and I talked to my real estate agent, and he said, "Well, yeah, the prices would support that." And I said, "Well, what do you mean the prices would support that? Why didn't you tell me that?" He says, "Well, you wanted to sell the house." And I said, "Yeah, I didn't want to give it away," and yeah, we didn't have good words on that. Well, it gets worse. As you can see from the chart, those little dollar signs are sales. Another guy took and did minimal improvements, and he sold it in July of 2020 for $105,600. $105,600. This is a little two-bedroom house, and that's almost pushing it. And oh my gosh, it is not worth that. But you know what he did to add all that value to the house? He put up a fence. Yeah, he put up that little fence there, that picket fence on each side, and that more than doubled the price of the house. So this is my fun experience of not doing my due diligence, having to deal with arson, having to deal with theft, and having to deal with somebody that I thought was going to help out our group, my friend, with really taking a big cut off of the top. So this is my worst real estate experience, and I'm getting in this group of presentations, I'm getting my worst ones out of the way first, and then I'll talk about my more successful ones, because on the whole, I did fine. But if you're going to be a real estate investor, you're going to have good things, you're going to have bad things, and hopefully you can learn from my lessons. There's a company that has this little poster, a bunch of little the motivational posters. These are demotivational posters. And one is, what if your goal in life was just to be a warning for others? Yeah. All right. Well, that's my story. I hope you learned something from it more than I did, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.